I'm just saying, in a story or world where anything can happen, why didn't the basic essentials happen? Like common sense. Hello. So the main premise of this movie, or should I say movies, because there's like three of them, so it's like a trilogy or something, I guess. Anyways, so there's these guys that are tasked with a world-saving mission that simply requires them to like destroy a magic ring by throwing it into a volcano or something where it'll then melt and be destroyed or whatever, right? And yeah, also they couldn't have just thrown it into any nearby volcano or whatever. Nope, it had to be thrown into, obviously, the furthest volcano possible, which also happens to reside inconveniently at the absolute top of some ridiculously massive, incomparably enormous forbidden mountain. Why? Because obviously that specific volcano is also like a magic one or something. So yeah, magic ring into magic volcano equals crisis averted. Sounds easy enough, right? Now, understandably, any task given that has the entire fate of the world's survival depending on its success will most likely be easier said than done. And I totally get that. But what I don't get is, for something that important, why wasn't a little more planning or strategy done? Like they knew one of the biggest problems with getting the ring there, and probably the most obvious one, was simply how far it would be to get there. Never minding the obvious multitude of absolute dangers, possibly life-ending obstacles that they will surely encounter along the way. Whereas by failing to overcome any single one of those adversities will result in an utter complete world-saving mission failure that these geniuses were tasked with. So yeah, let's just take this all-important one ring in hand and just walk it there. Like, why not? I know in those times they didn't have planes or UPS that they could just easily send and ship things across the world and shit. But they did have these massive birds or flying creatures that people are friends with, whom also let people ride them and fly all around the world and stuff. Like, hello. Why walk 3 years to get there? Because that's how long this movie trilogy spanned. 3 years. And they could have just flown some massive owl and got there in a few days and tossed the ring in or whatever. Makes no sense. Like, did anyone not think of this option as an alternative mode of transportation? Like, I know they were trying to remain inconspicuous, so maybe they thought flying a giant bird might be too noticeable. But if you think about it, you're basically trying to smuggle a single ring across the world. We're not talking 50 keys of cocaine or 100 illegal immigrants. We're talking a single ring. Like, ask a Mexican cartel if they think they could successfully smuggle a single ring across seas. They would laugh at you. They'd be like, oh, man, that's a tough one, but all right, let's try and add your single pinky ring to a shipment of cocaine the size of a house that we successfully smuggle every day. Like, fingers crossed. LOL. I'm just saying, like 3 days of big bird flying, first 3 years of barefoot walking. I mean, to each their own right. But I definitely know what I would have chosen. But even besides that point, when they finally got there, what were they thinking they were going to do? To like just walk right up to the edge of this molten lava inferno, fucking volcano, and chuck this ring in there no problem, like as if they were at the beach, skipping a rock into the shore or something. Do they even know how hot an active volcano is? Do they have any idea? Anyone less than at least 100 feet away from a live active volcano will result in their face to completely melt off. Like, it'll simply melt way before that ring ever does. You're gonna look like a not yet assembled Mr. Potato Head. Also, on top of all of this, the ring that these guys are carrying, the longer they have it in their possession and the closer they get to the volcano with it, its presence or location can be increasingly sensed or detected by like the main bad guy, whom is doing everything in his power to take it from them and prevent them from being able to throw it into the magic volcano and destroying it. I mean, time and efficiency is clearly at an essence here. Your best bet would be to quickly fly this thing up there before anyone can figure out what you were doing. And if by chance someone did notice you, it'll most likely be too late for them to stop you. With these guys' logic and methods of delivery applied to current times, that's like the equivalent of trying to win a war against another country across the world with like the ultimate atomic bomb. But like a few army guys are simply going to attempt to carry this atomic bomb by hand and walk it all the way there by foot and somehow successfully drop and detonate this thing right at the enemy's door. Like, good luck with that. But yes, of course, this is a movie and the laws of cinema storylines will be applied as per usual. The quintessential law of no matter if one is up against the most impossible problems or inconceivable odds, the forces of good will always undoubtedly prevail over the forces of evil. It's like an absolute must, completely indisputable by any means. Why? Because if movies didn't abide by that law, it wouldn't be a movie anymore. It would be a documentary. The Life Isn't Fair. Shit Happens documentary. Warning depictions of true real-life events. Viewer discretion is irrelevant. So anyways, long story short, because that's exactly why we're all here, right? Long story short, these guys finally make it to the magic volcano, a 3-year journey via their preferred method of transportation. The barefooted heroes have arrived. Victory is in reach. They are now standing right in front of a flowing, blazing inferno lava river, close enough that they could literally piss in it. Their faces don't melt off. They merely break a sweat, not from the unmeasurable heat of a volcano, but from the fear of failure if they don't get this ring in the lava. But obviously they luckily chuck the ring in. It melts and disintegrates. Boom shakalaka. Success, the good guys win. Bad guy is like, oh, my ring, you bastards, fuck you guys. Then he dies right after somehow. Bada bing, the world is saved. Roll credits.